I opened the door with a smile, the kind you wear when you are about to surprise the love of your life. I had left work early, arms full with takeout from his favorite Thai place, a bottle of wine tucked under my arm, and a red lace thong beneath my coat, a desperate attempt to resurrect whatever was left of our 8-year marriage. But when I stepped into our bedroom, the smile died. My husband, Mark, was not alone. He was there, naked, with legs tangled and face buried in the one person I never thought I had to fear. My best friend. My maid of honor. Vanessa. I did not scream. I did not cry. I just stood there, numb, watching the sweat glisten on her back as she rode him like he belonged to her. And maybe he did now. Because I realized in that moment, he never truly belonged to me. 2 nights later, I stood at the bar of Caleb's place, Mark's younger brother. My fingers curled around a glass of bourbon I did not even like. Caleb asked me what was wrong. I told him the truth. He kissed me. And I let him. I let him do everything Mark never did. I let him touch the parts of me that had been aching for more than just sex. I let him ruin me, and I ruined him back. I am Rachel Miller, and this is the story of how betrayal turned me into someone I never thought I could be. Before I take you any deeper into this twisted story, I just want to thank all my returning viewers for the love and energy you bring every day. I see your comments, and your support means the world to me. To all my new and not yet subscribed viewers, welcome. I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that keeps this channel alive, and it tells me you want more stories that are raw, intense, and real. Do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments below. I read them all. Now, let us begin. 3 months before that night, I began to feel the shift. Mark would come home later than usual. He would avoid eye contact. He stopped touching me unless it was mechanical. Like a chore. At first, I blamed work stress. The mortgage firm he worked for had just merged, and he was dealing with new leadership. But then, there were the little things. He started changing his phone password. He no longer showered with me on Sunday mornings. And he stopped saying, "I love you," before bed. I brought it up one night. We were lying in bed, backs turned to each other. He said, "You always think something is wrong. Maybe you just need to relax." But it was not about relaxing. It was about the slow death of affection. The kind of silence that screams. Vanessa had always been around. We met in college, shared dorms, clothes, secrets. She helped me plan my wedding. She held my hand through my first miscarriage. She was the one person I called when I could not reach Mark. I never thought she would become the person who helped me destroy my marriage. She started showing up more often. Just checking in, she would say, bringing wine and gossip. Sometimes, she would stay late. Too late. Once, I found her in our kitchen wearing Mark's hoodie. She said she was cold. I brushed it off. Because who suspects their best friend? But now, looking back, the signs were everywhere. That Friday, I left work early. I had been planning it all week, a surprise date night. We had not been on one in almost 2 months. I bought that red thong even though I hated lace. I picked up Ty from the place where we had our 3rd date. I had hope. I parked in our driveway and noticed her car out front. My stomach turned, but I told myself she probably came to drop something off. When I walked in, the house was too quiet. I called out for Mark. No answer. Then I heard it, faint moans. At first, I thought it was the TV. But then I heard her laugh. That unmistakable giggle that always made her sound 15. I climbed the stairs slowly, like my body already knew what my heart was not ready to accept. The bedroom door was cracked open. And there they were. Her fingers digging into his chest. His head thrown back. Her name falling from his lips the way mine used to. I did not drop the food. I did not scream. I just stood there until they noticed me. She gasped and fell off him like a guilty child. Mark's face went pale. Rachel. I can explain. But I did not need the explanation. The image was already burned into my mind. I drove to a motel. I turned my phone off. I stared at the ceiling for hours, wondering when my life had become a cliché. A husband cheating with the best friend. What kind of lifetime nonsense was this? I cried until my throat went raw. And then I stopped crying. Something inside me clicked. Not broke. Shifted. I was done being the victim. 2 days later, I showed up at Caleb's bar. He had always been the outcast of the Miller family, tattoos, motorcycle, and a whiskey voice that made women linger. He greeted me with a look of surprise. You all right? He asked. No, I said. But I will be. He poured me a drink. We sat in the back room, away from the regulars. I told him everything. He listened. Really listened. No pity. Just silence and understanding. He brushed my hair from my face. His fingers lingered. Then he said, you deserve better than both of them. And that was when I kissed him. It was not soft. It was not sweet. It was war. That night with Caleb did not begin like a one-night stand. It began like a funeral. The death of who I used to be, the wife, the loyal friend, the woman who always played by the rules. And when I opened myself to Caleb, when I unzipped that new version of myself in the back of his bar, I did not just give him my body, I buried the woman Mark and Vanessa had destroyed. The room was dim. A single lamp lit the corner of his office. I still remember the smell of whiskey and cedarwood, the way the leather couch stuck to the back of my thighs. He looked at me like he had never seen me before, not just as his brother's wife, but as a woman. A broken one, but still burning. I kissed him first. There was no hesitation. My lips found his with a hunger I did not know I possessed. And when his hands slid down to my hips, gripping them like they were his salvation, I forgot about everything. About Mark. About Vanessa. About the shame waiting for me when the sun came up. I remember the sound of his belt hitting the floor. The way he groaned when I pulled his shirt over his head. I remember how careful he was at first, as if checking if I wanted to stop. But I did not. I needed this. I needed him. He whispered my name like it meant something. Like I meant something. When he entered me, there was no guilt. No fear. Only the sound of skin and breath and revenge being made. I moaned louder than I should have. He pressed a hand over my mouth. And for the first time in years, I came undone. I woke up in Caleb's bed. The cheap blinds let in a cruel amount of sunlight. My head ached. My body throbbed. Not from pain, but from satisfaction. The kind I had not felt in years. He was already up, shirtless, standing at the window with a cup of coffee in one hand. I pulled the sheet over my chest and waited for the regret to crawl in. It never came. Sleep okay? He asked without turning. As well as someone who just blew up her life could sleep, I replied. He finally turned, his eyes soft. You did not blow anything up. They did. There was silence between us. Thick, heavy, uncertain. I should go, I said, though I did not move. He walked over and sat beside me. You do not have to explain. This does not have to be anything. But it already was. Something had shifted in me. I had touched a darkness that felt far too good. And I was not sure I was ready to let it go. When I got home, the house was quiet. Mark had called me 15 times. Left voicemails. Texted paragraphs. I played the last one on speaker while I unpacked the clothes I had taken to the motel. His voice trembled. Rachel. I made a mistake. I do not know what I was thinking. It was a one-time thing. She meant nothing. Please. Talk to me. I stared at the phone. A one-time thing? What a joke. I had not seen Vanessa since that night. She had not called. Not even a cowardly apology text. That told me everything I needed to know. It was not a mistake. It was a betrayal carefully planted over time. That night, I sat on the edge of the bed and stared at the framed photo from our honeymoon. Mark and I in Costa Rica, covered in mud from an adventure tour. Back then, I had thought love could survive anything. I texted him one sentence. "We will talk when I am ready." I saw Caleb again 2 days later. This time, I invited him to my place. Mark was staying at a hotel now. Good. I did not want him touching anything that still smelled like me. Caleb arrived in jeans and a plain white shirt. No pretense. No arrogance. Just raw masculinity and quiet strength. I cooked. We ate in silence. When he reached for the wine, our hands touched. And it happened again. But this time, it was slower. More intimate. He kissed every inch of me like he was memorizing the parts Mark forgot. He asked me what I liked. And he listened when I answered. After, we lay tangled on my bed, sheets half off the mattress, bodies sweating and quiet. He looked at the ceiling. "Do you think Mark will find out?" I turned to him. "I hope he does." He looked at me then, with something between fear and admiration. "You are not who I thought you were," he said. "Neither am I," I replied. The next day, I got a call from Mark's mother. She wanted to meet. She said it was urgent. I met her at a diner outside the city. She looked older than I remembered. Worry had worn down her glamour. She stirred her coffee without sipping it. "I know about Vanessa," she said, eyes low. I blinked. "You do?" She nodded. "It was not the first time, Rachel. Mark has always strayed. You were just the one I hoped would fix him." My throat dried. "Why are you telling me this now?" She finally looked up. "Because I also know about you and Caleb." My stomach flipped. "You what?" "Mark came to me. He is furious. He says you destroyed the family." I laughed. Loud and bitter. "He destroyed it. I just stopped pretending." She nodded, quiet again. "I do not blame you. But you should know. Caleb has always carried a torch for you. Even before you married Mark. It was a secret everyone knew." I stared at her, stunned. She reached across the table and touched my hand. "Be careful, Rachel. You are playing with fire." When I got home, I found Caleb in my kitchen. He had a key now. He liked to surprise me. I told him what his mother said. He did not deny it. "I used to watch you at family dinners," he admitted. "I always thought, damn, Mark does not deserve her. But I stayed away because you were his. And because I knew he would kill me if I ever touched you." I took a step closer. "And now?" He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "Now I do not care." My chest tightened. This was more than revenge now. It was becoming something real. Something I was not sure I was ready for. But then Caleb said something that twisted the knife deeper. "There is something else you should know." I froze. "What?" He hesitated, then finally said it. "Vanessa was not the only one. Mark, he has been seeing someone else, too. Someone from his office. 4 months. I felt my knees weaken. "How do you know that?" I asked. He looked away. "Because she reached out to me. The other woman. Said she wanted to warn you. Said Mark promised to leave you but never did." My mouth went dry. I had not just been betrayed by my best friend. I had been betrayed by a man who made a habit of betrayal. That night, I sat alone in my bathtub. The water had long gone cold. I stared at the ceiling and wondered who I was now. A woman who had been lied to. A woman who had taken revenge. A woman caught in the arms of her husband's brother. But also a woman who had stopped crying. A woman who now had choices. To be continued in Chapter 3. In the final chapter, Rachel confronts Mark, not just with the truth, but with a choice that will shatter what is left of their fragile lives. Caleb's loyalty is tested. And Vanessa? Her mask finally falls. You do not come back from certain choices. Some roads, once walked, do not lead home. By the time I stood face to face with Mark again, I was no longer the woman he thought I was. I was not even the woman I thought I was. I had become a quiet storm, not loud, not cruel, but calculated. And underneath my calm, I carried the sharp truth of everything he never expected me to discover. I met him at a cafe, his idea. Neutral ground. Somewhere public where he thought I might not cause a scene. He looked tired. Hollow. Like someone who had been living in the wreckage of his own selfishness and finally realized the walls were caving in. When I sat down, I said nothing. He opened with the usual defense. I made mistakes. I own that. I tilted my head. Mistakes? That sounds small. He sighed. Fine. I screwed up. With Vanessa. With the woman from work. But I did not mean for it to go this far. I thought we could fix this. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because it was absurd. You did not mean for it to go this far, Mark. But it did. And it is not just your infidelity that ended us, it is your entitlement. You thought I would stay. That I would forgive you because I always have. He leaned forward, desperate. Rachel, I still love you. I smiled, and I let it cut. That is too bad. Because I stopped loving you the moment I saw you inside her. His mouth opened slightly, but no words came out. So I gave him one final blow. I slept with Caleb. The blood drained from his face. You are lying. No. I am not. I slept with your brother. In the back of his bar. In my house. In our bed. His hands clenched on the table. You did this to punish me? I held his gaze. No. I did it to reclaim myself. He stood up suddenly, knocking over his chair. The people around us turned. Do you know what you have done? He growled. I stood too, my voice calm. I know exactly what I have done. I ended the lie we were living. You do not get to play the victim now. He stormed out, shoving past a waiter on his way. And I felt lighter. Not clean. But free. Later that week, Vanessa showed up at my house uninvited. She wore oversized sunglasses and looked like she had not slept in days. I opened the door but did not step aside. I need to explain, she began. No, I said. But Rachel. You do not get a chapter in this story. You already wrote your part. She removed her sunglasses. Her eyes were red. I was in a bad place. Mark made me feel wanted, and I hated myself every second. Stop, I said. You do not get to use pain as an excuse. I was your best friend. And you climbed into my bed with my husband. Tears streamed down her face. It was not just sex. I think I fell in love with him. That twisted something in me. You fell in love with a man who threw you away like a dirty shirt once I found out. Her bottom lip trembled. What we did was wrong. But sleeping with Caleb? That is low. I tilted my head. No, Vanessa. Sleeping with someone's husband is low. Caleb and I were two broken people. You and Mark were two liars who kissed behind my back while I cooked dinner and defended your friendship. She looked at the ground. Silent. I shut the door in her face. That evening, Caleb came over again. He brought groceries, as if we were suddenly a couple. He cooked. I watched. We ate in comfortable silence. After dinner, I curled into him on the couch. "You all right?" he asked. I nodded. "I am better than I should be." He kissed the top of my head. "You did what you had to do." "But did I use you?" I asked, suddenly uncertain. He paused. "Did you?" I lifted my eyes to his. "I do not know." He cupped my face. "I do not care. Because I did not let you use me. I made my choice too." His honesty cracked something open in me. For weeks, I had told myself this was revenge. A twisted balancing act. But the truth was messier. I had started falling for Caleb. Not just because he touched me right. But because he saw me, the ugly parts, the broken pieces, and he stayed. Mark's mother called again. This time, it was an invitation, Sunday dinner. A chance to clear the air. Caleb and I went together. The tension was thick the moment we walked in. Mark was already seated. He did not speak to me. His jaw clenched every time Caleb poured my drink or touched my hand. Halfway through dinner, Mark slammed his fork down. "This is disgusting. You all sit here acting like this is normal. Like she did not just sleep with my brother." Caleb stood. "You cheated first. Twice. She does not owe you loyalty after that. You are my brother." Mark shouted. "Then maybe you should have acted like one," Caleb snapped. Their mother stood, her voice sharp. "Enough. Both of you." Silence. Then she turned to me. "I do not condone how any of this happened. But Rachel. I understand." I looked around the table and saw what I needed to see. Mark's bitterness. Caleb's loyalty. The ruins of a family I was no longer a part of. And I was okay with that. Weeks passed. The dust settled. Mark tried once more, through email this time, to guilt me back. I ignored him. Vanessa disappeared from my life entirely. Caleb stayed. Not as a secret, but as a partner. We traveled. We laughed. We healed. It was not perfect. It was not wrapped in a bow. But it was real. And sometimes, real is better than perfect. One morning, I stood in front of my mirror, naked, unashamed, healed. I did not see the woman who had been betrayed. I did not see the woman who sought revenge. I saw a woman who had clawed her way back to herself. I saw a woman who had survived. Not everyone will understand my choices. Some will call me cruel. Some will call me brave. But I know who I am now. I am Rachel Miller. And this was never just about betrayal. This was about resurrection.